The LouieTeeNetwork is powered by MusicHead University. MusicHeads, classes in session. Turn me up. Enroll on YouTube now. Link is in the description.
Who else could it be but me? You're me. Louie T, welcome to the Command Post Live. You know what it is. Post up. Take command. I, of course, am your Commander-in-Chief, Louie T. Thank you for joining me. So I know some of you were watching the U.S. game. They're getting the brakes beat off of them right now, 3-1. So it doesn't look like their fairy tale story is going to continue in the World Cup. But over the weekend, we had a brand new installment of As the Aiyuk Turns. Now, let me say this before I start this episode and get into the particulars. I am at the point now where I don't give a shit. Brandon Aiyuk is an unserious human. At first, it was funny. He was trolling, and it was all in the sake of and in the name of him getting out of San Francisco because he actually wanted to play football. I thought he was going to eventually do the things necessary to put himself in a position to play football. But it is abundantly clear, it is apparent that he is not interested in doing what is necessary. And he is more concerned with social media at this point. So I've effectively moved on in my head. I told you we're going to continue to cover this saga and watch it play itself out. But ultimately, him in Washington is over for me. He's not allowed within 100 yards of Bear AI facility. 100 yards. All right. He doesn't get it. He does not get it at all whatsoever. So the latest in this saga happened over the weekend. And I'll be honest with you, I was spending time with family. I wasn't following it as closely as it was happening. And as you know, with these stories, you got to be on it within 24 hours or the story goes away. And I'll be honest, I took a peek-see, but I could see where it was heading. And then people got sucked into the whether or not him and Jaden were trolling. Were they serious? So it all started with a video that surfaced. And I want to say that video was Friday. Jaden was at a soccer match for the World Cup, which he's been at a bunch of these. Any of them that have been in LA for the most part, Jaden has been in attendance. So he's standing there, and a 49ers fan, rolls up on him and starts berating him about Brandon Aiyuk. F Brandon Aiyuk, F Brandon Aiyuk. I'm a 49ers fan. F Brandon Aiyuk. You don't throw the football to him this year. F Brandon Aiyuk. This, that, and the third, right? And Jaden did what I think most people would have done in that situation. I know I would have done the same thing. He starts laughing hysterically in this guy's face. Like, this guy's crazy, right? Like, this is insane, right? I'm not gonna entertain that. I'm not gonna talk to this guy, right? I'm not gonna try to defend Brandon Aiyuk. I'm not doing any of that. I'm just gonna laugh, right? This guy out of here. He's a clown, right? So that's the video, right? He's just laughing at this guy, right? So of course that video makes its way around social media, makes its rounds, and it obviously gets to Brandon Aiyuk. And the next day, Brandon Aiyuk decides, well, Jaden, you're supposed to be my boy. And then this is the immaturity. This is why I don't have the tolerance for this shit. I don't have the patience for this shit anymore, right? Like, this is some middle school shit. Like, if he don't rock with me, then, and you, my friend, you can't rock with him. Like, that's some middle school shit. Like, it's one thing if like we best friends and this dude really tried to do something to you. Like, if y'all got like a little small simmering beef or whatever, but me and him was already cool. Like, I'm not getting in the middle of y'all shit. And if I'm more your friend than his, my allegiance is to you, but I'm not getting in a fight over you and him having beef, right? Like, that's y'all thing. As long as, you know what I'm saying, I'm not pulled into it, y'all handle y'all situation. Ain't got shit to do with me, right? So ultimately, this dude that, again, Jaden doesn't know, starts talking that Brandon Aiyuk shit. And Jaden just laughs him off, and Aiyuk is in his feelings. Like, you know, what's so goddamn funny, essentially, he wants to know. You know, turn your mother effing savage up. Something to that effect, he says, right? And he at Jaden, at that kid Jaden, right? And so everybody's looking like, oh, he's talking to Jaden, right? And I looked at that and I just said, Jaden's not going to respond to this shit because Jaden don't care, right? Jaden, to me, gives me he gives me Jeff Teague vibes in the sense that, man, Jeff Teague, like, I don't care, man. Like, when Russell Westbrook was like, you know, giving him shit, and he was like, I don't care. And Russell Westbrook was like, see, that's the problem, right? Like, Jeff Teague, like, I don't care, bro. Like, you got it. Whatever, bro. Like, that's how Jaden is. Okay, whatever, bro. You got it. Like, I don't care enough, right? Jaden's too laid back for that. I don't give a shit what you talking about. So eventually, I guess text messages were exchanged or whatever. And Aiyuk comes on and he's drinking something and he's talking about how Jaden texted him and said, you got to play by my rules. You're on my team now, which we don't know if that's true or not. We don't know if Jaden texted him that or not. This is a guy that we don't know what's true and what's not true from all the things that he's told us. So I'm not going to sit here and just take his word as the gospel. But did Jaden text him? Probably. Did he text him that? I don't know if he texted him that or not. I don't care. It doesn't matter. It doesn't make me one bit of difference. But he said, you're on my team. You got to play by my rules. And even if Jaden did text him something like that, my guess would be Jaden was joking because he's not really on our team. Jaden was messing with him. But whatever the case may be, even if that was said, you know, Aiyuk, again, in his feelings, he takes a jab at Jaden and his mom, like, you can't tell me what to do. You still, you know, got your mom over here handling your affairs, doing this, that, and the third. Basically, the thing that everybody does when they want to take a shot at Jaden, right? They can never really take a clear shot at him because there's not really any glaring flaw that you can take a shot at with Jaden. So what do? You take the easy, low-hanging fruit shot of, oh, he's a mama's boy. And your mom's always in your affairs and your mom's always doing stuff for you, yada, yada, yada. So he takes that route, right? Which, been there, heard it all before, right? Sunshine Anderson, right? We heard it all before, right? Miss me with that, right over my head. Get out of here with that. So eventually we get to the point now where we get some unfollows. Brandon Aiyuk unfollows Jaden. Jaden reportedly unfollows him. I don't know if that happened or not. I know Aiyuk unfollowed him. If Jaden unfollowed him, cool. I don't care, right? None of this matters. This is why I said when there was a sector of the fan base that got too attached to this situation. You got too wrapped up in it as if you were a part of this. This man is not on our team. So honestly, I could give two shits. This is entertaining from afar. This is not our problem. This is the San Francisco 49ers problem. He's still a member of the San Francisco 49ers. So as far as I'm concerned, I can disassociate. I can detach myself from Brandon Aiyuk because he's not a member of the Washington Commanders. So I can watch this man implode from afar, okay? Which is clearly what he's doing. He's imploding. He has no sense of direction. He has no sense of reality. He doesn't understand what's going on. He's not being instructed by anyone. He's not listening to anyone. Clearly, he's doing his own thing. And whether or not this was all trolling and him and Jaden are having fun, which I doubt that all of this is trolling. Some of it may have been, all of it is not, I don't believe. Then you get Jaden's post with the thumbs down, right? Which is like, whatever, get out of here. And again, what's real, what's not. This is why I don't play the social media game, because there's too much AI that's out there, and there are too many people that troll at a very high level that will get you to think something is going on that didn't, and whether or not everything was legitimized or not, because I didn't double check, because I don't care enough. Here's what I do know. Brandon Aiyuk's activity on social media, right, is something that is easy and apparent to trace to where he's heading, where his career is heading. And that's nowhere fast. You know, I always get a kick out of guys like not Field Yates, but what's the guy from ESPN? He had a little quick segment where he talked about Aiyuk's tanking his value around the league. And I'm like, what value around the league? This man doesn't have any value around the league. The one team that he was going to play for ultimately was the Commanders, or he wasn't going to play, assuming that he did everything he needed to do to get away from the San Francisco 49ers, which it doesn't appear like he is going to do. So at this point, even if he did get released, I wouldn't want him, right? I wouldn't want him, because it's apparent that he doesn't get it. He doesn't get it. Like, I don't know if, and I remember a lot of us questioned his mental capacity, his mental state, right? When this whole process first started, we questioned, hey, does this dude even want to play football? I wasn't necessarily questioning, like a lot of people, like, oh, he's got CTE. That's not funny. Like, I don't play around with CTE. That's not a game to me. Like, oh, he's Antonio Brown 2.0. No, Antonio Brown has some serious mental issues. I don't think that's Brandon Aiyuk, right? Like, I watched Antonio Brown strip damn near butt naked on the NFL field. There's levels to this shit. That's not Brandon Aiyuk, okay? But what I will say is that there's a level of immaturity with Antonio Brown. There's a level of immaturity with Brandon Aiyuk that is abundantly clear, that does allow people to draw parallels between the two. And I talked about the immaturity of Brandon Aiyuk, and I attributed a lot of this behavior to immaturity, but I also see a guy that is just unserious. He doesn't get it. He doesn't understand, like, the magnitude of everything that's going on. If he truly wants to play football, which that's the thing that I question, right? I questioned it at the beginning, and then which they always tell you, a wise woman once told me, your first answer is usually the right answer, right? And that was my gut telling me, I don't know if this dude actually wants to play ball. Like, really feel like he likes what football can bring him. And we know a lot of guys like that. A lot of dudes who love what the game can provide for them. His baller brand, or whatever it's called, right? That doesn't exist without football. Any sponsorships, anything that he has, none of that exists without football. The money that he made, the notoriety he gained from playing football, none of that shit exists without football. So he likes what football can bring him. I think he's probably more interested in cars and things that allow him to go fast. I saw him promoting a motorcycle here recently. We know he loves to drive in cars really fast. He's got a truck that he's always in, taking pictures near. Like, I think he loves automobiles. I think he loves automotives a lot more than he does football. I think that's more of a passion of his than football is. I think football is merely a means to him being able to get the things that will allow him to actually do the things he's passionate about, which is fine. Most people don't love their jobs. Their job provides them with the means that they need to maybe pursue something that they truly desire and love. That's most people, right? But he isn't taking advantage of the thing that's allowing him to make the money that will allow him to walk away from football early if he wanted to. He had $30 million that he walked away from simply because he couldn't follow rules. And that's where I go back to, he's an unserious human, he's immature, and he doesn't get it, and he doesn't love football. And when you don't love, like, it, above all else, if you don't love football, if you don't love the game, I watch dudes who had serious talent walk away from their respective sports and a ton of money in the process because they didn't love it. They didn't love it. What was the Raptors big man? Something Keon or Keon something. What y'all remember? The bald-headed, long, slender dude had a nice little game, had a nice little mid-range jumper, had a little back to the basket game. NBA wanted to get his man, you know, if you were big and you could chew bubble gum and walk at the same time. We just saw Walker Kessler get 120 million or whatever it was. If you can chew bubble gum and walk at the same time as a big in the NBA, there is a lot of money out there for you. But he didn't love basketball. He just wanted to chill, smoke weed, and just relax. Like he didn't love basketball. Walked away from a lot of money. And that's cool. It's a lot of dudes that don't love it, bro. Aiyuk doesn't love football. He loves what football can provide him. And like that's not what we're looking for, not in Washington. So I'm good on Brandon Aiyuk. Look, he was never getting released anyway. So like I'd come to the conclusion that the 49ers weren't going to allow this man to be released anyhow. The bottom line is he is now, I think, taking advantage of a platform that he has. And the crazy thing about the platform that he currently has, it has less to do with people that are actually interested in him, but what he can provide for them. All of the Commanders fans that are on his page that are glazing him, like, yeah, you need to come to the Commanders, all that dumbass shit. They're there because of what he can provide them. They're not there because they truly like Brandon Aiyuk. And as soon as Commanders training camp begins and life moves on, because for some reason, I think, again, when you're immature, you think that the world revolves around you and he thinks things are going to stop because he's Brandon Aiyuk. When the 49ers open camp, when the Commanders open camp, and he's still sitting there posting on social media, and all of a sudden, don't nobody give a shit about what he's posting, because now the actual real, football activities have begun, and he's not a part of them. He's going to realize, don't nobody really give a shit about what you out here doing. Nobody cares about your brand. Nobody's buying none of that shit you're selling, right? This was the vehicle driving all of that. Your ability to catch a football, your ability to run routes, block for your teammates, your ability to play football was the reason that any of this exists. And the minute that goes away, if you don't provide any value anywhere else, which he doesn't provide any other value, maybe there's entertainment value for some. Maybe there's entertainment value that exists. But hell, I'm up here talking about him right now. So clearly there's an entertainment value that exists. But ultimately, when all of that is removed from the equation, who cares? And I think that's what's going to ultimately happen to him, is he's just going to realize that none of this matters. But he's not playing football this year. Again, and I've said this a bunch of times, unless something changes drastically. And I can tell you this right now, these social media forays, these outbursts, this isn't like, he might as well unfollow the Commanders. They're not signing his crazy ass. They're not signing him. They're not signing this guy. Like, before, when he was just attacking the 49ers, and again, I thought he went too far when the YouTube video was the beginning of the end for me. Because he went too far in that video. He said some outlandish things in that video. And he really started to show his ass. And it's at that point where you got to start assessing your situation. Like, do I really want to be connected to this? Do I want to be a part of this? It's one thing to be out here trolling the 49ers. Hey, I want to play for the Commanders. Go get your tickets at commanders.com. All that shit it's all fun and games. We can laugh and kiki about that. When you start calling another grown man a predator, now we're drawing the line. Now you're defacing somebody's character. Now you've gone too far. Then, all of these other things that are going on, and it just feels like he doesn't get it. And he won't. He won't. It's going to be too late when he realizes the mistakes that he's made. If he even realizes he made a mistake. Some guys never can actually admit that I effed up. But when he does figure it out, it'll be on JoJo time. Too little, too late. It'll be too little, too late. And he doesn't have much time left to play football. Like, he's not getting any younger. Hasn't played football in almost 2 years. And I think it's going to be 3 because I don't see him playing football in 2026. And at that point, who's checking for Brandon Aiyuk after being out of the league for almost 3 years? Who's checking for him at that point? Maybe somebody will give him a chance, but it's hard to envision that. This was the year that he needed to come back and, get himself back into the league and show that he could play and maybe parlay that into one more sizable contract. But it doesn't feel like that's going to happen. And the one person that has probably been in his corner this entire time, Jaden Daniels, he's now, again, whether he's trolling or he's not, that's irrelevant. The fact that you're doing this on a public platform, on social media for everyone to see, again, I don't know if he thinks he's bringing attention to his brand, right? Because if anything that involves Jaden is going to move the needle, he's not dumb. I keep telling y'all, Brandon Aiyuk's a lot of things. He's not stupid. He's crazy. Cuckoo. He's a little nutso. He's crazy. It's why he can't be within 100 yards of Bear AI facility. He's crazy. But he's not dumb. If I include Jaden Daniels in anything that I'm doing, if I him, if I do anything that antagonizes him, people are going to watch off the strength of we here for Jaden. Right? We here for in support of Jaden. He doesn't give a shit why you're there. He just wants the numbers. He wants the engagement. That's what social media is all about. In case you guys haven't figured out the recipe. It's not hard. Engagement is what moves the needle. Whether it's good, bad, indifferent is the death of social media. I always tell y'all, if you don't like something, don't watch, don't support. Don't hate watch something. If you truly don't like it, don't hate watch it. You're helping. You're not hurting. So Aiyuk could care less about whether you're there because you hate his guts because he's talking about Jay. I didn't watch any of this stuff. These things were sent to me, and I would look at it transcribed because I'm like, this shit is dumb. It's dumb. All of the videos that people did, this is why it doesn't always pay to be first, jumping to conclusions where they, didn't know if this was real or not real. All that shit is crazy. At the end of the day, Brandon Aiyuk doesn't want to play football, y'all. He's been gaming us up this entire time. He ain't serious about playing ball in 2026. He has no intentions of filing the proper paperwork. He has no intentions of going about this process the way that he would need to in order to reinstate himself, get in there, pass a physical, and then threaten the 49ers to the point where he can actually get on the practice field and they got to make a decision. He's not willing to do that. He's not even willing. He's not even man enough. He's not even enough of an adult to go and turn himself in for a stupid ass crime that he committed and snitched on himself by posting a video of him doing triple digit speed outside of Levi's Stadium. Like, how stupid can you be? Right? That was so dumb. And I think he realized that after the fact, like, yeah, that was dumb on my part. He's not even man enough to go turn himself in and get that stupid ass misdemeanor warrant out of there, right? He's not even man enough to do that. This is all a joke to him. He's an unserious human. And at some point, you got to be serious about something. And right now, he's not. He ain't serious about playing football. I can tell you that. I don't know what else he's serious about in his life. I would guess his family, his wife, his kid. He's probably serious about that. But outside of that, I don't know if there's too many things that moves the needle for Brandon Aiyuk in terms of him putting all jokes aside and saying, hey, let's talk and get some shit done. This latest episode where now I'm annoyed, right? I'm officially annoyed because you drug my quarterback into this shit. And I've said this for the last 2 to 3 weeks. This ain't a Commanders fan base problem. Don't make it one. Right? By him dragging Jaden into this nonsense, simply because Jaden, who had nothing to do with any of this, laughed at someone berating him about Brandon Aiyuk. Brandon gets offended in his feelings, and now he drags Jaden into something that he has nothing to do with. This is the shit I can't tolerate. And again, people said like a week ago or so, it's a distraction. I said, it's not a distraction. Nothing's actually going on right now. So it's not a distraction. It only becomes a distraction when we're actually playing football, when we're actually in training camp, and this is still an issue, and this is something that is affecting our team, which it shouldn't be, because he's not a member of the Washington Commanders. They want to ask a question to Jaden, or they want to ask a question to Dan Quinn at training camp. That's a 1 to 2 liner, and you get that shit out of here, right? He doesn't play. He's on an NFL roster. We're not at liberty to discuss him, and you move on. He's not a part of our team. There's no distraction whatsoever. You know, Jaden's not going to allow this shit to distract him. He can give two shits about anything that doesn't have to do with this team. You can see he's locked in. So it's not a distraction. It's a distraction to us as fans. Not us, to y'all. Because I don't give a shit. Once they show up for training camp in late July, I could give a damn about Brandon Aiyuk. I'm focused on all the other wide receivers that are there showing up that are going to have a chance to play for the Washington Commanders in 2026. That's what I care about. He can keep posting videos, and once the season starts, I don't give a damn about a Brandon Aiyuk post. I'm going to keep it a buck with you. This is fun because it's helping pass the time as we're in those dog days of the summer, as we get closer and closer to training camp. This helps pass the time. But once they show up for training camp, once those veterans report, and once again it's on, once that shit is on, a Brandon Aiyuk post won't move the needle whatsoever. It won't move the needle over us talking about, man, Jaden had a fantastic day today. Or, damn, the receivers had a rough go of it. Man, our corners look damn good. It won't even scratch the surface when we start talking ball. Right now, it ain't shit else to talk about. So he got the spotlight all to himself. This shit made SportsCenter yesterday. Or today. I think it might have been today. Ain't shit to talk about. Not NFL-wise, at least. But all I'm telling you is, if you're a fan out there, and I can't tell you how to fan, don't allow this shit to mean more than it does. He's not a member of this team, and he's not going to be. I feel like this right now, like legitimately. And this doesn't mean that I want Stephon Diggs. I don't want him either. Personally, again, if they were to sign Stephon Diggs, I'm not going to be upset about it. Far from it. If Adam Peters says that Stephon Diggs is a good fit for this locker room and decides to sign him, I'm all in. I'm on board. You already know how I get down. Once you're a part of the family, let's rock, right? Ain't no time for bickering and trying to prove myself to be right. F that. I'd rather be wrong and have the team be right than me be right and the team gets some shit wrong and it doesn't work out. To hell with my ego and me being right. I don't give a shit about none of that. I want the team to win. I want team success. Too many people want to be right. I don't give a shit if it's Diggs or it's Aiyuk. I've been team Aiyuk this entire time up until about maybe a week ago. I told you that YouTube video was when I was like, I don't know about this. It was free Uke just up until probably 4-5 days ago. It was free Uke. Now, don't free him. Keep him in San Francisco for as long as you like. You can do whatever you like. Yeah, doesn't matter. You can let him go. We're not signing him. We're not signing him here. Joke or not a joke, trolling or not trolling, he's not a Commander because he don't love football. Above all else, he don't love football. Because if he did, he'd be doing everything in his power to try to get back on the field. He don't love football. He loves what football can bring. He don't love the game. And that's one of the prerequisites to being a member of this Commander. Do you love football, bro? Do you really? He doesn't. He don't love football. He just loves what it can provide for him. So at the end of the day, this whole situation, this whole saga it's mind numbing at this point, is what it is. I hate the fact that he has drug our quarterback into this. Whether trolling or not, I don't give a shit. Leave my quarterback out of your shenanigans. You want to bring his name up here and there, fine. But don't be atting my quarterback and talking shit about him. Again, trolling or not trolling, I don't give a shit. Keep my quarterback's name out your mouth, his mama name out your mouth, and all of that good stuff. You want to troll, do it on your own, away from anything that got anything to do with us, because we on a mission this year. We don't got time for none of these shenanigans. And again, like I said, he ain't on our squad. When those rookies report for training camp, and then those veterans report 2-3 days later, this Aiyuk situation is in the rearview mirror, bro. I promise you. Fans ain't going to give two shits. Only the ones that are stuck on stupid are going to be worried about what Aiyuk is talking about at that point. But the real question then becomes, do they need to pivot at the receiver position? That's the real question. Like, okay, he's clearly not it. He's not the answer to that question of, do you sign Brandon Aiyuk? No. That time is come and gone. He is not the answer for the Commanders. He's not the answer. So then, is Stephon Diggs the answer? Is bringing back Deebo Samuel the answer? Is there another wide receiver out there that is the answer? That's the question. Now, we know who the answer isn't. Brandon Aiyuk is not the answer. So who is the answer? Is there even a question? I think that's probably the best question to be asking is, do they feel like there's even an issue right now? Because I think right now, I don't think Adam Peters is pressed. I said this already. I don't think he's pressed. I think he is totally comfortable with the receiving group that he's assembled, assuming health, which we're going to do. I think he's completely confident that these guys are capable of going out and executing this offense. And I've already said, the way they're going to run offense this year, they don't need 6 receivers to be potent. You need 3 guys and your tight ends and your running backs. You need everybody doing their job. And I gave you the example of the Detroit Lions. I give you another example of the Chicago Bears because, again, that's another offense that it's going to look like. You look at that Bears offense, they got 2 running backs. The running back that they got last year in the 7th round, that was the physical hammer. And you got DeAndre Swift, who they throw it to out of the backfield. You know, he gets outside the tackles, and sometimes he hits you in between the tackles. But, you know, he's a little bit of a Swiss Army knife. They got their 2 tight ends, right? Loveland is the engine that drives that position group, though, which we think in Chigakonkwo, but they got 2 of them. And they had a plethora of wide receivers, but the main guys were DJ Moore, Roma Dunze, and feel like I'm missing one guy. Feel like I'm missing one more receiver. But you can't name, like, and they had Olamide Zaccheaus last year. He's no longer there. You can't name 4 Bear receivers. Now that DJ Moore is gone and Olamide Zaccheaus is gone, you can't name 4 Bear receivers. They got the kid that they drafted out of Missouri, Luther Burden. They got Roma Dunze. Like, the point I'm trying to make is that you don't need to go 5 deep at wide receiver with the way that we're going to run offense. This isn't Cliff's offense where you do need to go 5 deep at receiver because they're going to be cycling in and out because we're running no huddle. Receivers get tired. You got to be able to have multiple guys step on the field. You're going to have 4 wide receiver sets. I'm not saying that we won't have that here. I'm not saying that we won't have, you know, sets and formations where you put 4 receivers on the field at once, 5 receivers on the field at once with no tight ends. It's going to be highly unlikely. It's going to be highly unlikely. And the way that we're going to run offense in a more traditional sense where you're huddling up, there's not going to be a lot of Terry coming off the field. It's not going to be a ton of, you got to, you know, change these receivers out. Because you can take a play off, a run play away from your side. If you're Terry, you're huddling up. You got enough time to catch your breath. This isn't the no huddle with Cliff. You get Antonio Williams, you get Terry McLaurin, and you just need one more receiver. And I've said it could be a collective effort. It could be Traylon Burks, De'Ami Brown, and Luke McCaffrey that make up that 3rd receiver as a collective. And then Chig obviously doing it at the tight end position. And then, again, Rachaad White catching it out of the backfield. And you're fine. You're fine. You got everything you need. Strong run game. Tight ends that can catch. Make some things happen. Just did the Ben Sinnott game over the weekend. He's another guy that you can get it to. Like, I don't think they feel like they need another receiver right now. If Aiyuk got released, they were like, cool, we'll take him. If you don't mind, I won't waste your time. They would have took Aiyuk if he would have gotten released. If you don't mind, I won't waste your time. We'll take Aiyuk. We would have took Aiyuk if he would have got released. But we weren't pressed. The fans were. But I don't think they were pressed. If he gets released, cool. If he doesn't, we're cool either way. Now, again, we may get to camp and it may turn into a whole totally different discussion like, hey, we got to do something. But that's not where they are right now. I don't see them doing anything until mid to late August, assuming health, obviously. You get hurt and then you may be forced to do something at that point. But if we're healthy, I think they're cool with what they got. I think they are fine. And I like some of the young boys. And again, I think it's going to be a fun preseason. I think it's going to be a fun preseason. Would I have liked to have seen Brandon Aiyuk added to the mix of this group? Yes, absolutely. It's a huge fan of what that could have looked like. When you start looking at some of the better receiving cores in the league, hell, we got one of the better duos in the league right in our own backyard in our division in Dallas. When you start talking about the CeeDee Lamb, George Pickens, and the T. Higgins and Jamar Chases of the world, when you start looking at some of these power duos in the league at the receiver position, it would have been nice to throw out there Terry McLaurin and Brandon Aiyuk. That would have been nice because Terry just ain't had that in his career. He ain't had a guy opposite of him that could carry his weight. He just ain't never had that. So to have a guy that has 1,000-yard season, hell, has a season that's better than anything Terry's turned in his career, that would have been really cool to see. Guess it's going to be another year in which Terry's the main focus point and focal point, and somebody's going to have to step up opposite of him. This is the biggest difference. I actually think they have that guy here on the roster. This ain't Curtis Samuel. This ain't Olamide Zaccheaus. It ain't De'Ami Brown. It ain't Paul Richardson. It ain't Antonio Gandy Golden. It ain't none of the dudes that we done trotted out opposite of Terry over the life of his 7-year career. This is different. We got a legitimate hooper, a legitimate wide receiver that we drafted that can come in and carry some of that burden, some of that weight that is always placed on Terry's shoulders every single year. Yep, Terry's still going to see those double teams. He's still going to see bracket coverage until Antonio Williams and Chigakonkwo and some of these other dudes start to eat and take away attention from Terry. He's still going to see a lot of those coverages, but that's going to free up guys that actually have the talent to take advantage of it. The reason teams could feel comfortable trying to do that and taking away Terry in that way is because who else going to hurt us? Who else going to do it? Zach Ertz might get open. He ain't running nowhere, though. Okay, so fine. Zach Ertz just caught a 10-yard pass on 3rd and 8. That's cool. You still going to have to go 15 plays to score this touchdown because Ertz ain't about to break off this 33-yard game. But Chigakonkwo will. Antonio Williams will. That's what sucked about Debo last year. We never truly got to see what that was going to look like. A guy that actually had a 1,000-yard season in his career and actually had the ability to say, hey, I can be Terry's equal or just slightly beneath him, but I command enough attention that it's going to free up Terry in some instances. We never really truly got to see that come to fruition last year because of Terry's situation. I think you're going to finally see what it's supposed to look like this year. Between Chig and Antonio Williams, I think you're going to actually see guys that can either take full advantage of the attention that Terry is garnering or guys that are actually able to take attention away from Terry and allow Terry to get busy one-on-one. Either way, I'm excited for what the future holds with this football team. I'm excited about the opportunities that could potentially present themselves to some of the guys that are already here. And honestly, would I have loved to have seen Aiyuk in this offense? Yeah, I would have. Wanted to see if there was any way we could get Aiyuk back to his pre-contract form, pre-extension form. Could we get this guy highly motivated again? Aiyuk released and motivated to prove to the league that he could still hoop. That was intriguing to me. This guy don't want to play football, man. He don't want to play ball. And anybody trying to convince yourself that he does want to play football, that he is a serious human being, which he's not. Anybody, I feel for you. I feel for you. I feel for you. Because, and those of you joining us coming over from the Belgium ass whooping, belt to ass 4-1, welcome. We were just talking about this Brandon Aiyuk situation and how he's not allowed within 100 yards of Bear AI performance facility. He's not allowed anywhere near Ashburn. This guy doesn't get it. He doesn't love the game. And again, whether he's trolling or he's not trolling, doesn't make me one bit of difference. It's over. He could be released tomorrow. I don't think the Commanders are interested. It's just too much for a guy that, again, the last time he played football wasn't producing at the level, was dropping the football. There were already signs that he didn't love it. But you're willing to overlook some of those things because the talent, when Aiyuk was locked in, you were hard pressed to find 10 to 15 receivers in the league better. People were calling him a top 10 receiver at one point. In that year where the 49ers went to the Super Bowl and he was their lead receiver, he had over 1,300 yards. People were calling him a top 10 wide receiver in this league. And if he ever got even remotely close back to that, you got something. So you're willing to overlook some things. You're willing to, maybe put up with some things that you wouldn't normally put up with, because that's what talent does. It affords you opportunities. But when the juice ain't worth the squeeze, which is not with Brandon Aiyuk anymore. We're not desperate. We're not the team we were 2 years ago where we didn't have any talent. If that were the case, I'd probably be sitting here like, hey, man, I don't know. We got Olamide Zaccheaus, Jamison Crowder out there. This ain't the 2020 season, bro. We don't have Isaiah Wright at wide receiver. We don't have Dontrell Inman at receiver. The hell, this ain't even last year. This ain't even last year. We don't have Robbie Chosen at receiver. We don't have KJ Osborne. Chris Moore. We actually have depth at the position. Real talent at the position. We don't need Brandon Aiyuk. Did we want him? Some of us did. Did we need him? No. Do we need Stephon Diggs? No. Do some of y'all want Stephon Diggs? Yeah. We don't need these guys, though. We don't need them. And you know what? In this particular case, I can't say that for certain with Stephon Diggs. I can't say this with 100% certainty. I can't say that we're better off without him. We're better off without Brandon Aiyuk. We're better off without him. I can't say that definitively about Stephon Diggs because Stephon Diggs had 1,000 yards receiving last year. Like, he can come in and help right now. Are you willing to put up with, and I just talked about talent, you're willing to put up with some things when there's talent involved. Are you willing to put up with all the things that may come with Stephon Diggs being back home? This is something nobody else has had to deal with when it comes to Stephon Diggs. This is the X factor, and why a lot of y'all are ignoring this elephant that's in the room. Nobody else, New England didn't have to deal with this, Minnesota, Buffalo, none of these other teams that Stephon Diggs was a part of had to deal with the, hey, he at home factor. You can't account for that. You've never seen what that looks like. It could be nothing, or it could be a disaster waiting to happen. It could be Chase Young, Dwayne Haskins, God rest his soul, all over again. A guy that has no business being at home playing professional ball. I don't think Diggs is on their radar, and I think Brandon Aiyuk has fallen off of theirs as of the last, I'd say, 2 weeks. They probably said, you know what, we're good on him. But honestly, the 49ers, I think they're ready to unleash holy hell on Brandon Aiyuk soon. Like, they're going to make it where he's probably not playing football again. I believe that to be the case. When they're done with him, he won't be a factor. But We'll see. Anyway, I digress. Somebody just asked, are we interested in D-Hop? Hell no. He's washed. I throw him in the Odell Beckham, Juju Smith, and all, Schuster and all the giant receivers that they've signed that are 80 years old coming from the old folks' home. I watched DeAndre Hopkins with the Ravens last year. He's cooked. You put him on the right team and maybe he'll serve a purpose in certain instances, but he's cooked, bro. His best football is gone. Like, he serves no purpose for us. Not one. And he didn't want us. And I'm petty enough to not have forgotten how he played us, right? But we didn't want him. I hate when people do that, right? And this wasn't his fault, by the way. Somebody asked him. All he did was answer the question. But we didn't want you, right? We didn't want him. And he was like, yeah, y'all good. Y'all got this dude and y'all got that dude. Y'all don't need me. We don't want you, bro. We good. So we'll see what happens. We'll see what the Commanders do. Anyway, I digress. Let's get to the a word from our sponsor real quick. And then we'll come back on the other side and get to the comment section if there's any. All right. Big shout out to Prize Picks for sponsoring this stream. If you guys aren't a member of the Prize Picks family, well, now is good. How did I know she was going to do this? First quarter, and Flau'jae has 13 points. And I got a story to tell because I knew she was going to do this shit, right? So I've been betting Flau'jae for the last like 3 games, right? She was on this tear. She was killing it. I'm talking about scoring 25 and 28 points and just lights out, right? Then she went through this phase, like, because she was struggling before that. She was struggling. Then it felt like, okay, the light bulb then came on. She got it. At one point, she got benched. And so I was like, all right, I think she figured it out now. And I started going heavy. And look, the number for her was so low because she had struggled early in the season that it just felt like a good value pick. And then she went back into the tank. And I said, she's in the doghouse right now. I said, I bet you tonight, because this is the first time I haven't put her on a ticket. I said, I bet you she goes off tonight. She already got 13 points. The number had been set for her for the last 3 or 4 games at 12.5 points. And I was taking the over every single time. More. And she's already got 13 points in the first quarter. I can't stand how this, it's like it always happens this way, right? Anyway, I digress. And I can see this game is not going the way that I needed it to. Everything is already dead for me, right? I told y'all, I put a ticket together with y'all earlier, and I said, if this ticket doesn't hit, it's going to be Natasha that does it, right? Remember I told y'all that from the Lynx, the Minnesota Lynx? Natasha did me in. She did me dirty. Everything else hit. Natasha had like 6 points. I knew it was going to be that way. I said, if it's somebody that's going to get me, it's going to be her. You see my girl, Natasha Heidemann, doesn't have any points. Doesn't mean she can't get hot, but usually she starts quickly. If she doesn't start fast, it's not going to go well. Everybody in this game has started really, really slowly. Like Ray Burrell, I would have been leaning on her heavy, and she could turn it up. She got 3 quarters, but that's not a good start for her. Yeah, this doesn't look like it's going to be a productive game. I'm not even going to mess with this because I was going to put together a little quick ticket with y'all with this live, in game. I'm not even going to fool with it because I can see that this is not going to go the way that I think. And what's going to happen is I'm going to mess around with people that I don't have a working relationship with, and they're going to smack me in the face. So I'm going to just let this ride. Let it be what it's going to be. But anyway, I digress. A lot of great opportunities. The U.S. has been officially eliminated from World Cup play, but there's still some really good players left in the World Cup. And so you got Messi coming up tomorrow. Mbappe still hanging around for France. It's a lot of good play. I already told you, Erling Haaland. That dude is a monster, bro. He's a monster. This dude has scored a goal in 14 straight competitive games for Norway. Like, it almost feels like you should just throw down, like put him on the ticket for at least a goal anytime Norway suits up. Anyway, I digress. I'm gonna see what happens in some of these WNBA games, because I got a couple of people that I'm putting them on ice. If I'm gonna have to, some people gotta sit in timeout. Okay, Natasha got to go sit in, not Natasha Heidemann, but she might have to sit in timeout too. But I'm talking about Natasha Howard for the Lynx. She got to sit in timeout. I can't keep doing this with her. She got to sit in timeout. Gabby for the Valkyrie. Gabby got to go sit in timeout. I can't keep doing this with some of these females where y'all wanna hoop when I don't put you on the ticket. Then when I put you on in a lineup, you want to start, doing all of this foolishness. So we'll come back and we'll chart all of that. But shout out to Prize Picks for sponsoring this stream, man. If you haven't already done so, use the promo code HMA. That as a first-time user, it'll unlock an opportunity to play $5, get $50 instantly in lineup bonuses when you use the promo code HMA. Y'all can follow me on Prize Picks at LouieTeeNetwork. That's at LouieTeeNetwork, which you see at the top of the screen. I'm so disappointed, but I told y'all who it was going to be. It was going to be Natasha Howard, and she got me, man. She got me. Anyway, I digress. Let's get to the comment section. See what you guys have to say. Redskins for life. Been a member for 28 months. Who writes, Lou, what's up, Redskins for life? Training camp can't come soon enough. Look, it'll be here before you know it. It will be here before you know it. We need to get past this BA bullshit. The drama is so annoying filler right now. Hashtag HTTR, hashtag HTTC, hashtag raise hell. It's annoying. I wouldn't call this drama. It's annoying. Like, it's annoying that it's showing up on my timeline. It's annoying that it's dominating some of the conversation within some of my group chats. It's annoying that, the national media is covering it. I just, like, this is attention that we used to be so accustomed to that we were jaded by it. Now we stay out the way. Like, we're not on SportsCenter and some of these, shows, these talking head shows because of shit like this. We don't do this anymore. This is some Dan Snyder shit. But again, this ain't us, right? Like, again, I have to reinforce, this ain't us. He's not on our team. This is not Commanders drama. He's not affiliated with the Washington Commanders. He's trying to affiliate himself and align himself with us, but he's not on our team. So many fans are like, are we going to get tampering? No. What have we said? What have we done to get a tampering charge? When have you heard anybody connected with the Washington Commanders say anything? Jaden hasn't said anything. Brandon Aiyuk said that Jaden said. He can't prove that. And what do you think? Players don't talk to other players that are on other teams? You think that's not tampering? Tampering would be us actively engaging with Brandon Aiyuk while he's on another team. He doesn't even have representation if we are to believe him, which I don't. I don't think he's filed the proper paperwork to even fire his agent. He's such an unserious human. I don't even know if he's done that correctly. Ultimately, there are no tampering charges. We haven't done anything wrong because we haven't done anything. Period. And this has nothing to do with us. Our fans have allowed themselves to be drugged into this situation. We ain't done shit. This is not our problem. That's a 49ers problem. This man don't play for us. He can go ahead and unfollow us as far as I'm concerned because he won't be playing for us. And again, him and Jaden are still friends. Like, I hope y'all don't think like they actually beefing. You know, how many times have you and your best friend got into it and y'all won't speaking for a little while? Like shit happens. Even if this is real, they're friends still. But he's not playing for the Washington Commanders. I can tell you that right now. And you're not wrong. You're not wrong. Training camp can't get here fast enough. Right. Court Casino. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB. Court Casino writes, got cold out there on that porch, didn't it? Gonna need that double. Oh, King, shaking my damn head. I'm not giving you a double O for this. There's nothing to talk about. Had he gotten released and came to Washington and then shown his ass, yeah, I would have owed you a double O. I'd have been flat out wrong about him. But ultimately, this is a guy that is unserious about football. And so this entire time, I've definitely been a proponent of him getting out of San Francisco and just having an opportunity to see if the Commanders were interested, which I feel like they were truly interested in him before some of these antics here of late. Again, I really feel like the turning point of all of this was the YouTube video. For the Commanders, it could have been when formal charges were filed for the speeding and he didn't go take care of it. They could have seen that as him being immature and unserious, because if I know if I got a warrant for my arrest, I'm going to go handle that ASAP. I don't want that shit lingering. I don't want that hanging over my head. I don't want there to be any part of the country that I can't go and move freely because the authorities are looking for me. Okay. If I touch down in California, I don't want anybody apprehending me, putting handcuffs on me, accosting me because I got a warrant out for my arrest. I'm coming to you. Don't worry. I'm going to call you. I got my attorneys that they're going to hit you up, tell you I'm turning myself in at this time. I'll be there. And I'm getting bonded out in 2 seconds. I'm getting arraigned and I'm getting bonded out in 2 seconds. And he won't even do that. So for all of you fans out there that was like, this guy's a clown, you guys are dumb for wanting him. If you want to take a victory lap, go ahead. I'm not mad at you for that. And I'm not ashamed to tell you I wanted this Brandon Aiyuk situation to work. I wish this guy actually wanted to play football, because I would have taken him in Washington in a heartbeat. But you know something that really, because I remember talking to the coach, I think it was last week, either last week or the week before that. Had him come on, we talked. And I said, here's the thing. Brandon Aiyuk ain't going to buck off on Jaden Daniels. He ain't going to buck off on his boy. And whether or not this shit is real or not, the first thing that popped into my mind was if he'll do this shit to Jaden. And 49ers fans have been telling us, y'all think shit is sweet with this dude. This dude is a nut. He's a nut job. And I'm like, nah, I ain't heard. And I still haven't heard any teammates throw Brandon Aiyuk under the bus. I still haven't heard that. But my whole stance had been, he ain't doing that shit to Jaden. We got the X factor. We got 5. He'll fall in line with 5. This past weekend's transgressions make me feel, even if he's trolling, and again, if you're trolling, that ain't the way to do it. It's not. Doesn't help your situation. But not that he cares, because he's an unserious human. Not that he cares. But if he's willing to do this to 5, there's no limit to this man's ability to alienate people. Get this man the hell up out of here, bro. So if you want the victory lap, Court Casino, there's the track, bro. Take the lap. I'm not going to stop you, man. I'm not going to stop you. There are a bunch of Commanders fans that wanted nothing to do, and you were one of them, that wanted nothing to do with Brandon Aiyuk, and you told anybody that would listen, you guys are going to see this guy's a clown. And it came to fruition. I was willing to go down that Brandon Aiyuk road. Had he been and had he been willing to do what was necessary. Remember, there was this brief period about 4 days ago, 5 days ago, maybe a little bit longer. No, it was about a week ago. Because we came on with the Kings and we hadn't heard from Brandon Aiyuk. His last post on story was on a Sunday. And we had gotten on with the Kings last, I want to say the Kings were live last Wednesday, I believe. It was Wednesday or Thursday. And I remember us saying, well, we ain't heard from him. I think it was the last Wednesday. We ain't heard from him. We ain't heard from Aiyuk. It's been 3 days. It had, Monday, Tuesday, and I think we went live Wednesday, and we hadn't heard from Aiyuk. And we were like, and Rio was like, I think the NFLPA might have gotten to him. That was the last story up until that point. And Rico was like, man, maybe some, Ms. Jackson or somebody got in his ear, man. Maybe he's starting to get some. And people started to think, maybe. And at that point, had he gotten his shit together, had that actually been true, and somebody had gotten to him, and he was willing to listen, and he had gotten his affairs in order, I still would have wanted Brandon Aiyuk. Still would have, and the 49ers ended up releasing him. I still would have wanted him. I'm good now. Too much has happened. I've seen too much. I can't unsee. Yeah, we got to move on. We got to move on. Q-Dog, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Q-Dog writes, I'm back, LT. Hope all is good with you and the family. He says, just know I'm getting out of my NBA Finals loss slump. LOL. Hey, I know you took that hard. And the bad part about that loss in the finals was and I know this is going to sound crazy. This sound like the Cavaliers saying they were better than the Knicks, which was preposterous. I actually think you guys were the better team in that series. But you were young. That was the difference in the series. You were up big and you were up double digits, I think, in every first quarter of every game of the series. You were up in the fourth quarter at some point in every game of the series. You were up. You had the biggest lead of any team in this series in game, what was it? Game 3 in New York, if I'm not mistaken. And you just didn't know how to close the show. You didn't know how to finish. So yeah, that one stinks. And here's the part that's dangerous, and we're gonna get back to football here in a second, is that everybody's telling you, oh, y'all will be back. Oh, look out for the Spurs. Just be careful with that. The NBA is crazy, and there are no guarantees to this shit. I remember everybody saying that young nucleus in OKC of Kevin Durant and James Harden and Russell Westbrook was going to get back to the finals again. And Serge Ibaka and them boys ain't never make it back to the finals. So, and I get it. Wemby's different. I don't know if I love the Tobias Harris signing. Like, it doesn't. I would, who I would have really loved to see y'all go after? I felt like Rui Hachimura would have been a great signing for you guys. I don't necessarily know if I love everything that you've done this offseason, but we'll see. We'll see. We'll see what happens. Says, I got to catch up on your videos. It's all good, man. It be like that sometimes, bro. It take a little while. That shit stings. When you make it that far, you fall. I remember 2 years ago when we made it to the NFC Championship game and we lost. I didn't even really want to watch the Super Bowl. But I'm such a fan. I'm going to watch. But I was just out of it, bro. I didn't want to do draft content. It took me a while to pick myself up off the canvas. And y'all made it all the way to the finals. Like, I get it. It take a little while, right? I'm out here watching Summer League. You ain't even interested in that shit right now. You still trying to pick up the pieces, bro. And I get it. But welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back to Q-Dog, man. Glad to have you back on board, and I look forward to chopping it up with you, Doc. Says, TJ Ryder, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB. Our guy TJ writes, it's shit talking season, boys. We almost there. It's about that time. It's about that time to start talking our ish, man. Everybody been all cordial and nice this off season. All that's about to go out the window here shortly, man. So almost that time. Let's see. McKeithen Womack. Stand up. You are the newest member of the MOBB mob. You know what to do. Show McKeithen Womack some love. Welcome him with open arms. Welcome to the squad. McKeithen Womack. Glad to have you on board. Looking forward to chopping it up with you, my guy. TJ Ryder. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Double up. Thank you for doubling up. Who writes, I'm scared that our fan base is mostly mama boys. Shaking my head. What does that matter, TJ? What if they are? What difference does it make? What is that going to do? How does that change the dynamic of our fan base, TJ? Like, that doesn't alter winning or losing, does it? Like, that's all anybody should really be concerned about, right? Our fan base isn't that, dissimilar from other fan bases. We always like to think that our fan base is crazy. No, every fan base is crazy, bro. You go talk to any other content creator of a different fan base, and they'll tell you some of the same shit that we say about this fan base, they're saying about their fan base. Every fan base has a delusional sector. Every fan base has a sector of it that just wants good football players, or players in general don't care about the dynamic, the team, bonding dynamic and the roster building dynamic. They just care about getting talent. Every fan base has fans who aren't following the team all that closely. They just show up when the games start. They couldn't tell you who we drafted, who we signed in free agency. Every fan base has fans that are at one end of the spectrum or the other. They're like extremes. Either they're all in on this or they hate that, but there's no middle, right? There's no gray area. Every fan base has that. So it's all good, man. John Perez. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. John Perez Sports. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB, who writes, at this point, Lou, give me Diggs. Aiyuk is toxic. He is very toxic. I'm good on Diggs. I don't need either one of these dudes, to be honest with you. I'll tell you what was more intriguing to me about Aiyuk than Diggs. And with Diggs, it's the same thing that Aiyuk would have been, in the sense that it would have been a 1-year rental just to see if you wanted to buy with Aiyuk in that. There's no buying with Diggs. It's a 1-year rental with no possibility of that thing having, anything more to give past this year. It felt like Debo last year. I never felt like Debo. I told you Debo was a hired mercenary last year. There was no way Debo would be back. And even after he got off to that fast start last year, it never felt like Debo was ever going to have a future with the Commanders. It was literally, can he help us get over the top and win a Super Bowl? It would be the same thing with Diggs. Can Diggs help you get to somewhere that you haven't been? But you're not re-signing a 33-year-old Stephon Diggs next offseason. You're not doing that. And so while some people might not care about that, can he help us this year? Cool. The allure and the attraction to Brandon Aiyuk was he could ball out this year, and then we could turn around and sign him to a 3-year deal after the season. And it could be a 2-year deal with an exit ramp, after the second year, if you wanted to get out. All the guarantees were in the first 2 years, whatever. But there was a chance for, like, okay, we found a guy to transition. If, let's say Terry falls off a cliff this year and we realize, oh shit, which I know isn't going to happen. I'm willing to bet anything, but there would have been a seamless transition to the next guy in Aiyuk. Like, that doesn't exist with the Diggs. That was the allure of Aiyuk for me. I'm good on Diggs. I'd rather just see if Antonio Williams is that guy. I'd rather see if Treylon Burks can, prove to be a legitimate former first-round pick talent that, the light bulb comes on for. I'd rather see what we have in some of these other guys than to, go out here and kick the tires. I'd rather just rock at this point. But again, if they wanted Diggs, I wouldn't do it, but I'm not mad at it if they did do it. I wouldn't be mad at it if they did do it. DJ, been a member for 40. Wait, we here with it. Been a member for 40 months. Salute, who writes, Gabby sold whole ticket, everything else hit. 2 points, shaking my head. I told you, I got to throw her in timeout, bro. She's got to go in timeout. Natasha Howard got to go. Natasha Howard had one. I don't know what she ended up with. She had 1 rebound, bro. Through 3 quarters. One board. I can't deal with this type of incompetence, man. 1 board, bro. 4 points. The last time I checked on Natasha Howard, because she had already killed my ticket. I had her for 15 points. So at this point, I had her for 16, actually, 15 and a half. At this point, we in the 4th quarter, you got 4 points. I'm dead. So I just all right, I had her for I think I had her for 6 boards. She had 1 rebound. This is a woman that's averaging damn near 10 rebounds a game. She got 1 board. Yeah, pack her ass up. So, yeah, Gabby is in jail. So is Natasha. They're going to be cellmates for a little while. I can't keep dealing with this with them. I've had so many close tickets the last, I would say, probably 4 or 5 days. One thing every time. One thing. And it's been them. Those two have done it to me at least twice a piece. Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm sorry she got you too, man. I'm sorry. Giant Factor. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Giant Factor writes, Trump just tweeted Belgium has nuclear weapons. Oh, man. Belgium they just unleashed a nuclear weapon on our soccer team. That's for damn sure. 4-1. Sheesh. 4 freaking 1. You hate to see the U.S. Fairy tale run come to an end. And Rio tweeted out to us that it felt like watching a Commanders game. Oh, Jesus. Natasha Howard, I apologize. She ended up with 18 points. Never mind. I stand corrected, Natasha. You have, I'm sorry, all charges have been dropped. Natasha Howard ended up with 18 points tonight. She ended up with 18 points tonight. Gabby Williams is definitely locking her up, throwing away the key. I'm definitely locking her up. But I apologize to Natasha Howard. She got active in that 4th quarter. My goodness. When I left her, she had 4 points. She ended up with 18 in the game. Okay. Well, you've been released for good behavior. But Gabby Williams, you take your ass inside that cell and sit on that damn cot. It's just going to be a while for you to get out. Rio had texted us and was like, it's watching the U.S. soccer game was like watching a Commanders game. That felt like the NFC Championship game, where it's like we came all this way, played well all year, and then you get to this point and you just let the rope go. That one was rough. MC Saba, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. MC Saba writes, I think out of the wide receiver, I think our wide receiver room will be fine. As do I. Excited to see Antonio in camp. I have a feeling Van Jefferson is going to be a surprise breakout. Also got my tickets. That's what's up, man. I'm glad to hear that you got your tickets for the upcoming event. And since you just threw the oop, you always know how to get down. If you throw the oop, I'm going to dunk it. So let me throw this up on the screen real quick. Commanders Kings annual toast to the season, August 23rd, live from the heart of DC at Hook Hall, 4 p.m. on Sunday, August the 23rd. Get your tickets now. Link is in the description of this video. We got so many things that are going to be so much fun coming up at this event. It's the second time that the Kings have ever been live and in person. The first time was epic. This one is going to be a movie, and we want you to be a part of it. This is going to be on a much larger scale. Last time we had 150 tickets available. This time we got a lot more tickets available, and they're going a lot faster than they did last year. So we're so pleased with the way things have gone to this point. Get your tickets while they're available for the early bird special, $60 all the way through July 31st, starting August 1st. If the tickets are still available, which I can't say it's going to be the case with the way that they're selling right now. General admission is in effect come August 1st. Where the tickets will then be $75 and they will be non-refundable at that point. You got all the way up through the month of July that if you buy tickets, something happens and life be a life, and sometimes and you can't make it, you can still get your money back. But once we hit that August point, there's no refunds for these tickets. So we're going to have so much going on, man. Raffle, the burgundy and gold raffle, which those tickets are selling really well right now. Really excited about that. Me and the fellas been talking about all the stuff that we're going to have to give away. We got trivia. We're going to test your knowledge. A lot of y'all claim that y'all know all about the burgundy and gold. We're going to find out. We're going to find out just how much y'all are locked into the burgundy and gold. We're going to have so much going on, but the crux of this, the biggest event is going to be our signature drink contest. We each have a drink that we will be pushing throughout the course of the evening. Ed's got the chair shot. Rio's got the Rio Rita. Rico's got the ATL Ho. And I have the TNTF. Looking forward to everybody trying to drink, seeing which one is the best and voting on that. And we will determine a winner. We're going to, be talking about this roster, and there's so many questions about this roster. This event will happen right after preseason game number 2, which is the big one. That's the dress rehearsal. So we'll have a lot to discuss. We'll be able to kind of come up with a 53-man roster at that point, give our predictions for the upcoming season, so forth and so forth. So much fun. Looking forward to y'all being in attendance. Get your tickets now. Link is in the description. If you want to be a vendor at this event, make sure that you also click that same link. It'll take you to where you can fill out the form for the vendors. Those spots are filling up very quickly as well. So make sure you get in there. If you want to just donate, you're not going to be able to be in the building, or you want to you're going to be in the building, but you still want to hear your name called and give a shout out to you. You can do that through that same link. Big shout out to the Hilltop RVA, man, for helping us put this event together. They've been very instrumental in this thing going off without a hitch. None of this would have been possible without the help of our guy Twan from the Hilltop RVA. So if you like how this event ends up going and you are trying to plan an event in the future, the Hilltop RVA may be the event planning group for you. All the details are there. Follow them over at the Hilltop RVA on all social media platforms. Big shout out to them for helping put this event together. Get your tickets now while tickets are available and last. A lot of these tickets are selling a lot quicker than I ever could have imagined. Big shout out to everyone that has purchased their tickets. Our guy MC Saba just said he purchased his. Big shout out to everyone who has purchased tickets. Y'all think I'm bullshitting when I tell you a lot of these tickets have been sold. How many times have I been on the stream and somebody say, hey, I copped my tickets already? And they're not bullshitting. They cop their tickets. And the thing that I'm finding is people ain't copping just a ticket for them. It's them, they wife, girlfriend, they aunt, they uncle, they best friend, they cousin, they brother. Like, it's 4, 5, 6 people coming, right? They didn't cop 5, 6 tickets. Like, shout out to the Legion, shout out to the mob, shout out to everybody that's copped their tickets. We appreciate y'all for holding us down. It's going to be a lot of fun, man. Can't wait to see y'all in the building. John Perez Sports, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB. John Perez Sports writes, my Capital got Ovechkin back for NHL year 22. I saw that like a week or 2 ago that Ovechkin was coming back, man. Shout out to the king of the ice for coming back again, man. That's pretty dope. I thought it was over. But I definitely saw that he was back. Just to go back real quick to MC Saba's comment, he said he's excited to see Antonio in camp. I'm excited to see Antonio this summer. I don't know if Van Jefferson is going to be a surprise breakout. Like, I don't see that. I just see Van Jefferson continuing to be steady. He's a professional. He's a professional wide receiver. So I don't think he's going to do anything crazy. Like, we know who he is at this point of his career, but he's better than anything we've ever had at the back end of our wide receiver room. That's what Van Jefferson can be in 2026. And that's all I'm looking for him to be. I'm not looking for Van Jefferson to be some sort of savior. I'm not looking for Van Jefferson to be our third best receiver or hell, even our fourth best receiver. I'm just looking for Van Jefferson when his number is called to be able to come in and produce. And I think he is fully capable of doing that. He is a legitimate NFL wide receiver. Tribal Warfare. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB. My guy, Tribal Warfare writes, LT, this could be wishful thinking, but I believe our receivers are going to ball out. That's not necessarily wishful thinking. Our receiver room isn't trash. We are still dealing with the PTSD of last year, right? We are still dealing with remnants of last year where the depth was not there. It was tested and we failed miserably. And because of that, we just want to be over prepared. Like, literally, we have enough receivers to get us through. Again, should injuries take effect, certain guys have to stay healthy, right? Like, if you got Terry and Antonio and there's injuries to the other guys, we'll be fine. We can get by. But if anything happens to Terry or Antonio, that's when you start worrying, because is there another talent to that level of those two guys that exist on the roster? And I think the answer is no right now, which is why you wanted a Brandon Aiyuk, which is why some people want a Stephon Diggs, because at least you would have another guy with that kind of ability who's put up those type of numbers in this league before. There's not another guy on the roster that gives you that. And that's what I think a lot of people are a little bit uneasy about. But the overall depth of our receiver room is fine. Like I said this before, if Van Jefferson is your wide receiver 7, you're doing really well at the receiver position. Okay. You could go across this league and look at teams number 6 and number 7 wide receiver, and most teams you wouldn't even be able to name that guy. Who the hell is that? Some unheard of rookie, undrafted, or some random dude that's been on the back of NFL rosters who's fighting for his NFL life. It ain't Van Jefferson, a legitimate NFL receiver who has a 800-yard receiving season under his belt. Granted, that was a long time ago. It doesn't matter how long ago it was. How many teams' 6th or 7th receiver has an 800-yard NFL receiving season under their belt? How many 6th or 7th receivers in the NFL that you know of have a guy that had over, 400 yards? I think Van Jefferson had last year. It's either close to 400 or over 400. I think Van Jefferson had close to 400 yards last year. He had 350 last year. And I mean, 6th or 7th receivers, had 350 yards receiving last year. Like, again, I don't want to keep beating a dead horse, but we're fine at receiver. We just wanted to be more than fine. We wanted to be like special. And that's not what this group is. It's not a special group, but it's a group that's more than capable of being everything we need them to be, and then some. It gives me a much better upgraded version of 2024, right? Except we didn't have an Antonio Williams on that 2024 roster. It was literally Terry and everybody else. You have an upgrade at tight end over Ertz. It feels like, we'll see, but it feels like Chig's going to be an upgrade over Ertz. And you really didn't have anybody at wide receiver 2 that year. It was literally by committee. 1 week it was De'Ami Brown, like against the Cleveland Browns, going deep and catching a touchdown pass. Another week it was Jamison Crowder making a play against the Eagles in week 16, late in the season. Another week it was Olamide Zaccheaus, and he had plenty of weeks where Olamide was getting busy, especially later in the season. You didn't know who was going to step up as that other guy opposite of Terry, but you just had a bunch of other guys, and you had Zach Ertz. We're better off now because you have Antonio Williams. Traylon Burks, I think, is better than anything we had opposite of Terry back in 2024. Has a chance to be at least. And I think you got De'Ami Brown back. That helps. Guy that can, run. Van Jefferson can run. Then you get in Luke McCaffrey. That's another X factor guy, right? Like, we don't really know where Luke is in his, progression. And I think he has made a ton of progress. And this could be the year where Luke starts to make some plays. But I think our receivers are going to be just fine in this offense. Just fine. I really believe that. TJ Ryder, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. My guy, TJ Ryder. I think this might be 2 for you. Might be 3. Double up. Might be 3, but in case it's just 2, we're going to double up anyway. Do the Ravens have the most gangster new uniforms in the NFL? You must be talking about the all-black joints they have. I always love the Ravens all-black uniforms, and I think the new ones added a little bit more mystique to them. I got to see them again. I'm only seen them that one time when they first released them, so I have to see them again. But I think when I saw them, I was like, yeah, these are dope. I think I like the Ravens all-black uniforms, so we'll see. They might have the best all-blacks in the NFL. J-Dub Clap, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Our guy J-Dub writes, "Sup, Lou? Sup, J-Dub? I might be crazy, but I'm cool with Terry, Brown, Williams, and Okonkwo lining up against anyone. It's better than Chosen and Robbie Chosen or Chosen Anderson. I think it was Robbie Chosen. I don't think it was Chosen Anderson. But yeah, same guy, right? Same guy. Chosen, Tay Martin, and Chris Moore, LOL. Also, where do you rank the defense? Yeah, man. Big play Tay, as Ed used to call him. Like, whew, we went through some nasty times last year, bro. Tay Martin lining up at receiver for us, man. Jesus. How did we get through last season, boy? We are a very resilient bunch. I tell you, man. I know a lot of fan bases have had it rough, and I don't want to make it out to seem like our experience has been the worst of any, because for as bad as it's been here, we ain't never had the number 1 overall pick. We ain't never been bad enough to get the number 1 overall pick. So there are other fan bases like the Browns and the Raiders who have had it, just as, if not worse than we have. But geez Louise, we are a resilient group. I don't know if there's many more fan bases out there that have endured what we've endured, man. Jesus. Tay Martin, Chris Moore, Robbie Chosen. Boy, last year was rough. It was rough. The only thing that we didn't endure last year that would have put the icing on the nastiest cake you've ever ingested was the model getting in at quarterback last year. That would have been like the icing on the worst cake ever. Right. Not that I was enthused to watch Josh Johnson play quarterback. But if Sam Hartman had gotten in last year, that would have been, that would have been the exclamation point on one of the worst seasons we watched as a fan base. Jesus. Tay Martin. That's another name that I had completely wiped from my memory bank. I'm cool with Terry, Brown, Williams, Okonkwo, Burks, McCaffrey. I'm cool with all these boys. Like, I really feel like it's a strong group. It's far from elite. But again, I'm higher on Williams than most. I'm willing to blindly go in blind faith with Antonio Williams. I know a lot of people aren't willing to do that, and I don't advocate that you do that. Let me go out on this limb by myself. If you're not comfortable, it's a thin branch. If you're not comfortable going out there with me, that's fine. Let me go out here, and if this thing snaps off and he's not what I thought he was, let me take that bullet. Let me fall off this tree. You don't have to do that. But I'm just telling you, give me Terry, Antonio, and Chig. I'm ready to go to war against anybody. Give me those 3 dudes. I'm good. I'm ready. Let's rock. Let's do it. With 5? Please. Please. If this offensive line is what we think they can be, give me Terry, Williams, and Okonkwo with 5. Let's go to war. Let's go to war. Let's go to war. As far as ranking the defense is concerned, they got to prove it. I don't have a ranking for them. I've already told you, just finish inside of the top 20, and it's a massive improvement, bro. We were like the worst defense in football last year. If we weren't the worst, we were the 31st. If we weren't the 31st, we were the 30th. We were somewhere in there with Cleveland or with Cincinnati and Dallas. And like I said earlier today, that's the worst company that you can possibly keep when you're talking about defense. And we were in that conversation. So anywhere in the low 20s to high teens, shit, that's a massive improvement. You went from one of the 3 worst defenses in football last year to almost top half of the league. Sign me up, bro. And I've said this already. We could be the 23rd ranked defense, but if you tell me we forced 26 takeaways, that'll put you top 7 in the league in takeaways. Might even put you top 5, depending on what other teams are doing. And you already know 5 don't turn it over. And if dudes ain't fumbling and skill guys aren't putting it on the carpet, you force 26 takeaways and you only give it away 12 times. Let's just say 14 times. You're plus 12 in the plus minus. Do you know how many football games you're winning doing that? So there's so many layers to what this defense could or couldn't be. We'll see. I got to see this defense be good before I crown them. I can't allow we've been so bad for so long on defense that I can't bring myself to be like, oh, this defense is going to be this, and that. I got to see it first. Offensively, I can do that because of 5. Because of 5 and Terry and Chig, I just got immense confidence in Antonio Williams. I got immense confidence in the talent that we have on offense and who's pulling the trigger at quarterback. If we didn't have Jaden, then I wouldn't be as bullish on the offense either. We got Jaden. We don't have that guy on defense right now. So I can't be like, well, shit. If we don't know nothing else, we're going to get after the quarterback. They got to deal with fill in the blank. We don't have one of those on defense. Not right now, at least. We'll see. So defense, I'm going to take a wait and see approach with that. Offense, I'm bullish. Offense and special teams, I'm bullish on. I'm bullish on those 2 units. Our guy, Abner Durant, been a member for 57 months. Celebrate! Our guy, Ab. You getting close to that 5-year Annie. Says, my man, Lou. What up, Ab? Now we're sinking. I also want to reinforce the wide receiver room, but with wise decisions and hirings. Let's roll with what we have this season and may next offseason bring a franchise adequate dog. Now, we're definitely synced up. You never wanted anything to do with Aiyuk. You were adamant. Get this guy the hell out of here. And he was never here. But you didn't want any parts of him infiltrating this locker room, this team. You just didn't like his energy. You didn't like what he stood for. You like everything that they're building. This goes against that culture. He's counterculture to what they've been trying to build. And ultimately, you and Court Casino and all the people that was like, this Aiyuk dude is a clown, and I can't believe you guys want him. You guys were right. But I told you, and I'm not backing off of this, had he gotten his life together, and the thing is, he doesn't love football. He doesn't want to play. He really don't want to play. He likes the idea of playing. He likes the idea of the money that it could provide him with. He don't want to play football. And if he actually wanted to play football, if he was actually an adult and he was ready to adult and he was ready to do the things that were necessary for him to play football, I still would have been all in. But he's not. And I finally have come to the realization of he doesn't love football. He doesn't want to play, you know. And so I'm with you 110%. He can't come anywhere near, again, 100 yards within Bear AI Performance Center. Keep him away from all facilities that have anything to do with the Washington Commanders. He can unfollow us. He really should just go ahead and unfollow us. We don't want you playing for this team either. So anyway, I digress. I'm all for rolling with what we have for now, but eventually, I think we're gonna have to change. I think we're going to have to be a little bit more aggressive in attacking the receiver position eventually. Especially, I think this year is going to be interesting because if some of these guys step up, then if Treylon Burks steps up, if Luke McCaffrey steps up, then we'll feel totally different about this group. If they don't, if they continue on the track that they're on, you're going to have to do something next year. Terry's not getting any younger. And even if Antonio Williams is what I think he is, you're still going to need to go get a guy, right? Still going to need to go get a guy at some point. And they tried. Again, it wasn't for a lack of trying. They tried this offseason. So, J-Dub Clatt, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Double up. Thank you for doubling up. Right. Also, I've been seeing a lot of posts recently about JD5 year 3, and I believe the hype. Best set of weapons he's had, new offense. He's going to be dynamic. I think he's going to shut people up. I mean, that's, I think, the sentiment of most Commanders fans. Not all of them. Not everyone is of that mindset. There are some fans out there that are like, I need to see it, right? Year 1 was awesome. Year 2, not so much. Got to make sure. Like, I still hear a lot of people talking about he's injury prone, he's too skinny, this, that, and the third. Those aren't Commanders fans saying that, though. Ultimately, I agree with this being the best set of weapons that he's had. I love the David Blau offensive approach and what that's going to mean for Jaden. I think Jaden's a huge part of this offense in terms of helping put it together, things that he likes and things that, you know, he wants to be able to implement. So I think he's worked closely in conjunction with David Blau to put some of the things in that he's comfortable doing. I think he's going to be dynamic. I've been going back and forth with Rio about the amount of rush yards he's going to have. He's such a dynamic weapon that I think Rio's right about the rush yards. They're going to come. I'm still a little bit skeptical because there were so many designed runs for him and in Cliff's offensive scheme. And I think in this offense, it's set up for him not to have to run as much. The ball's going to come out. They're going to run the ball a little bit more. I don't think he's going to be put in positions where he's going to have to run. So I'm not sure that those rush yards, like, he's not going to lead the team in rushing this year. He's not going to lead this team in rushing this year. But I do think he's going to be dynamic. And I do think there's a sector of fans out there, not Commanders fans, but just in NFL fans in general, that don't want to see him be successful, that think he is not, you know, good and he was a one-hit wonder. I do think he's going to shut them up this year. I do think that's going to happen. J-Dub Clatt, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. My guy, J-Dub Clatt, writes, also with Kinlaw and Settle manning the interior of the D-line, do you see us re-signing Payne? And if not, where could you see him going? Also, your JD5 week 1 stats versus the Eagles and week 2 versus Dallas. Hard to say right now what, like, I got to actually, and it's hard because I'm going to say, I need to see the offense. I'm not going to see the offense. They're not rolling out anything that they're going to roll out against the Eagles in week 1 in the preseason. Jaden has always struggled with Philadelphia in Philadelphia. Some of his worst games of his NFL career have come against the Eagles in Philadelphia. The Thursday night game in his rookie season, the NFC Championship game. He wasn't terrible in that game, but obviously it didn't go the way we wanted it to go. He's always struggled with Philadelphia. Even the game in Washington where he threw 5 touchdown passes, he turned it over a bunch in that game, if you recall. Like, I got to see him against that Eagles defense first. Like, it's hard for me to envision him struggling to the point where he didn't give us a chance. But it can't just be on him. You know what I mean? I think they got the number, like Prize Picks right now has the number of his pass yards like at 223.5, I think, that which is such a Jaden Daniels number. That's right around where he lives from a passing yards perspective. Will he be somewhere in that neighborhood against Philadelphia? There's a chance he's in that neighborhood somewhere. I think in week 1, it might be a little bit less. It's always a little funky in week 1. Remember last year, the offense wasn't very sharp in week 1 against the Giants at home. We did just enough to win that game. I don't know. We'll see. Jaden's yet to have a sharp week 1. You know, it was obviously his first game of his NFL career out in Tampa in 24, and then last year against the Giants at home wasn't very sharp. I don't know. That's going to be a tough one. That's going to be interesting. I think week 2 against Dallas, he has a chance to be exceptional. I'm not buying the Dallas defense, but I will say this: he struggled against Dallas as well. He struggled the 2 games he played against Dallas, because he didn't play against them at all last year. The 2 games yes, he did, and he struggled in that one too. Man, you could argue that was the worst supporting cast he's ever had in his life, not just NFL, in his life, going all the way back to Pee Wee, right? Pop Warner football. He probably could have assembled, 3 or 4 guys that were better as 12-year-olds than the guys he was out there with against Dallas last year in week 7. But he struggled against Dallas in his career. So again, it's another team that he struggled against, especially on the road. He has not played well against Dallas, period, let alone in Dallas. So those are going to be interesting games for him to start. And that could be a massive statement that he makes the first 2 weeks of the season. If he goes out and he plays well against 2 defenses, and in particular teams on the road that he has struggled against in those environments, that's a big statement. That'll be a huge statement. As far as Payne is concerned, he's going to have to play well. Like, Kinlaw and Settle don't have anything to do with Payne being back or not. Kinlaw is going into the last year of his deal next year. So if they want to re-sign Daron Payne, they can. Settle is going to be here for the long haul. They signed him to a 3-year deal, so he's going to be here for a little while. But Payne is only 29 years old. He can absolutely get a 3-year deal here if he balls out this year, but he's going to have to ball out. I honestly don't see him being back. Speaking of Payne, I see them drafting a new young defensive tackle. But if Payne goes out and gets 10.5 sacks this year and is just this disruptive force like we saw back in 2022, all bets are off. All bets are off. So we'll see. Tizzy Bang, thank you for being a member of the MOBB for 59 or 55, months. Celebrate my guy, Tizzy Bang. I can't think of a bigger clown player than Aiyuk. Again, it doesn't make me one bit of difference. He's 1, he's not a free agent. 2, he's not a Commander. 3, he's still under contract to the San Francisco 49ers. He clearly does not love football, and he doesn't get it. So I don't care to resort to calling him names. It doesn't move the needle for me. But you go right ahead, knock yourself out. I want no parts of Brandon Aiyuk here in Washington. None. I did before, but he's shown his ass. He's shown his true colors. I thought there was a line that he was willing to go up to, but he wasn't going to pass. And that was me being naive. I thought there was a line that you could draw in the sand and that he'd go all the way up to that line, but he wouldn't pass it. I was wrong. There's no line with him. There's no line to his pettiness, to his immaturity. He doesn't want to play football. So, yeah. My guy, Ab, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB, my guy, Ab. Thank you for your extreme generosity, my guy. Can't thank you enough for the support and the love. My guy, Ab, writes, I know this BA circus brings content to talk about, but in more serious matters, what do you think about Rasul Douglas signing? Is he a potential depth? Promise till the draft, we draft a dog or get via free agency, or does he have the potential to show something and be a starter? So, yeah, no, you're not wrong about the Brandon Aiyuk situation. It absolutely provides content, and we never turn that down here in this space. But we much rather be talking football shit, to be honest with you. Like I was so happy that they signed Rasul Douglas. It gave me a chance to talk about something tangible, right? Like I'm gonna be 100% transparent with you. I was asleep. I get my sleep, man. I'm getting old. I got to get this rest, right? This weekend has been crazy. The heat has been wild. I hadn't slept in a bed in over 2 days. So I finally got back to my bed. And I didn't want to get up. I got up early this morning and I was feeling the ill effects of maybe 1 or 2 extra drinks that I might not have needed to have last night. And I had to get up early this morning, get the kids to summer camp. And I got back into bed and bro, I didn't want to get up. That bed felt magical. It felt like heaven, right? So the alarm went off initially at 12:45. I slapped that. Then it went off at 1. I slapped it again and I set it for 2. And I got up at 1:51 and I was like, yo, let me check my phone to see if anything has happened. If something has happened, I'm getting up. If nothing's happened, I'm going back to sleep, bro. And I checked my phone and I saw that we signed Rasul Douglas. And I said, oh, time to get up. So I'm so happy that we signed Rasul Douglas. I did a video earlier today in which I talked about Rasul Douglas and what he brings to the table potentially. And the biggest thing that excites me is, one, he adds to the depth of the room. He lifts the floor of that room. The floor was pretty low, because if the first guy off the bench is Akello Witherspoon, the floor is low. It's not, the depths of hell. Like Akello Witherspoon isn't trash, but I felt like you could do better. And then God forbid anything happened to any of the corners and Akello has to go in. What are you going to do then for depth? We had nothing at CB5. So now Akello Witherspoon is your CB5. I feel really good about, because I think Rasul Douglas jumps him in the pecking order at CB4. And to your question about whether or not he could potentially start, you damn right he could start at some point. I don't think he is starting right out of the gates. I don't think there's a competition. I think right now, Amik Robertson's your slot. Mikey Sainristil is your boundary on one side, and Trey Amos is your boundary on the other side. And I don't think that's changing. But if somebody struggles, and when I say somebody, I'm more so talking about Mikey or Amik, or somebody gets injured, and that goes for all 3 of them, you feel confident that Rasul Douglas can step in and you not miss a beat. He's a taller, longer, rangier corner. And the thing that I love is he tackles, but more importantly, he is a thief. And we don't have enough thieves on this roster, especially in the back end. I've said this already. You had one in a possible before Rasul Douglas showed up on the scene. Mikey is a legitimate thief. In his young NFL career, he's proven that he'll take the football away. Had 4 interceptions last year. A lot of people don't realize he had 4 picks last year. It's a bad season for this defense. Mikey was one of the few guys that actually showed up, especially after the positional switch from in the slot to out wide. He started to play a lot better, right? Mikey's a thief, and I think there's a chance that Nick Cross is a thief. He's a possible. Rasul Douglas is a legitimate thief. 21 career interceptions, 3 of which gone to the crib. We have 24 total interceptions on this roster at the cornerback position prior to Rasul Douglas getting here. Between Akello Witherspoon, Amik Robertson, Mikey Sainristil, and Trey Amos, you had 21 total interceptions. Now you have Rasul Douglas coming into the mix with 21 by himself. So that group had 24. Rasul had 21 by himself. So that tells you a lot about what he brings to the table. And I just believe that kind of ability at this juncture of his career for what we're going to ask him to be. We're not asking him to be what Buffalo asked him to be, or Green Bay asked him to be, or Philadelphia early in his career asked him to be, or hell, even the Dolphins last year asked him to be. We're going to ask him to be depth off the bench. And if you get into a pinch where he needs to start, he has started double-digit games each of the last 5 seasons. So he's fully capable of coming in and playing competent NFL starting caliber corner for you, if need be. It's a win-win move for the Commander. I think this is the perfect signing. This time of the year, this is a tremendous signing. I really, truly believe that. And I said that earlier when I did the video. I think it's a truly, truly perfect fit for the Commanders for what they need. It's a great blend in that back end now in terms of the secondary, not secondary, in terms of the cornerback position. 2 young guys, 2 wily veterans that are, 30 years old roughly, in Akello Witherspoon and Rasul Douglas. And then you have, I think, the connective tissue of the room, right? So you got Mikey, who's probably like 24 years old, 25, somewhere in there. You've got Trey Amos that's right in that same range, 22, 23 years old, really young. You got the 2 wily veterans that are right around 30. And then you have Amik, as I feel like the connective tissue, who's right in that 27 range, right? So I just feel like it's a really well-balanced room. 2 guys with some length and some range as veterans in Witherspoon and Rasul Douglas. You have 2 guys that are young, right? And Trey Amos and Mikey Sainristil. And then you got, Amik Robertson as the wild card. So I just think it's a really well-balanced room. But I think you're going to have to draft a young corner next year. That has to happen. A lot of us thought they were going to draft a corner this year, and it didn't happen. At least a developmental one, if nothing else, and that didn't happen. Tizzy Bang, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOB. Be my guy, Tizzy Bang. I love Antonio and think Luke will step up. Terry has a few good years left. I agree with that. At least bare minimum, a few good years. It could be more than that. I could easily see him, playing till he's, at a high level till he's like 36. I'm not bullshitting you. I think Terry's got one of those games that will age well on some Reggie Wayne type shit. I could see him playing another 5-6 years of high level ball. But he says, we'll be watching Cam Coleman from Texas, but I ain't thinking of next year's draft, LOL. And I don't plan on being in a position to draft guys of that ilk. Like, we're going to be in the back end of the first round. That's what my mind is. That's how my brain is wired right now. We're not drafting high enough to get one of these elite players in the draft. We're going to be drafting somewhere where hopefully we'll be getting whatever's left. This is supposed to be one of the best draft classes we've seen in quite some time. You know how that goes, though. All of these guys are preseason Heisman hopefuls, right? All-Americans. And then you get into the season and they don't have the year that they had the previous year or 2 years ago, whatever. But we'll see. It's supposed to be a ton of talent. When that time comes, we'll talk about the draft and all that. But you know where I am. You know how I'm built, where my mind is. Once we get to some NFL football, to hell with the draft. I'm all in on the NFL and this particular team and what they're able to do. I'm locked in, bro. So I hope we pick in 32nd. That's the hope. That's the goal. Pick 32nd. Marissa Mullinex, thank you for being a member for 24 months. Shout out to your brother Mark, who writes, hey, wonderful Louie. I love when JD5 told BA enjoy retirement, LOL. I don't know if that was actually him. I think that was a parody account that did that. Again, none of that shit moves me, Marissa. I'll be honest with you. I tuned it out once he started talking. Even if he was trolling about Jaden and his mom, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go flip some burgers on the grill. I ain't got time for this shit. You know what I mean? Like I like at that point, I'm not interested in Brandon Aiyuk being a member of the Washington Commanders because again, whether you're trolling or not, you don't touch 5, bro. That's like, again, I talked about the line that you draw in the sand that you're not supposed to cross. 5 is off limits. Trolling or not trolling, you want to talk shit about somebody, pick another player, any other player on the roster. And if you had a beef with that player or you did, knock yourself out, bro. We may have an issue with it, but it ain't going to be to the level of 5. You can't talk shit about 5 or Mama Jackson, bro. It's not going to end well for you, whether you joking or not joking. We don't give a shit if y'all got a pre-existing relationship or not. A lot of unfollowing going on. Mama Jackson, liking and reposting stuff that is insinuating that this shit ain't funny to her either. It's no place for this. And we don't tolerate that shit here, right? We don't know how you do it up in the Bay Area. We don't know how you did that shit in San Francisco. We won't play that shit here. So, yeah, I'm good. I'm good on Aiyuk. He says, I'll miss him, LOL. No, I won't. He says he was never here and never will be. Nope. And that's the beauty of it. You can't miss something you never had. That's why I told some of the fans, like, y'all getting too invested in this. Commanders fans getting in the back and forths with 49ers fans and getting in these heated debates online. Like, what are you doing? He ain't a part of this family. You already giving him family treatment like he already a part of this family. He don't belong to us. He ain't one of us. Right? I feel like Kanye West. Broke 5 broke. We ain't got it. There's an intruder among us, posing as one of us, but he is not one of us. He ain't never been one of us. So for people to be embracing him, to be getting in heated debates over him, what are you doing? It's been crazy, but I know where I stand now. I was definitely team Aiyuk, hashtag free Aiyuk, all that. All that shit dead. Ain't no more free Aiyuk. You know what I mean? Ain't no more, overlooking this because of that. To hell with all of that. It's purely on an entertainment basis now. I'm gonna continue to, see what's going on as the Aiyuk turns up until training camp. Once training camp starts, I told you I don't give a damn what Aiyuk talking about. At that point, I could care less. Then the focus shifts from, off-season fodder to, hey, now let's talk ball. Like, our boys are back. The boys are back in town. Once that happens, all the focus shifts to them. So, yeah, the Aiyuk situation, I think it's run its course with most fans. Most of the logical ones, at least. It took some of us a little bit longer to get there than others, which is fine. Again, that's how it goes down sometimes, right? That guy Court Casino was there, and they were already there. They were like, y'all tripping. Y'all will come around eventually, but y'all are tripping if you want this man on our team. And people like myself was like, yeah, I'm tripping because I want him. And if he gets released, you damn right, he's going to be here. If he got released tomorrow, I don't think Adam Peters signs him. Unless this man was willing to play for free. And even then, I don't know if Adam Peters would want him. I really think that it was Jeremy Fowler was the name I was looking for from ESPN earlier. Jeremy Fowler was like, he is literally tanking his stock as an NFL player. And I'm like, Jeremy, he has no intentions of playing with any other team but the Washington Commanders. He doesn't care that the Cleveland Browns or the Tennessee Titans or the Vegas Raiders or the Los Angeles Rams and Chargers. He has no cares in the world that those teams don't want him. could care less. The problem is, I think he scared off the one team that he wanted to play for, and that probably would have been willing to overlook some of his flaws. I think he might have scared them away too. I think he might have scared them away as well. So anyway, I digress. That is going to do it for me, your man Louie T, here on this installment of As the Aiyuk Turns here on the Louie T Network. Y'all know what it is. Post up. Take command. I don't know where this thing goes next. I'll be honest with you. I don't know where this next episode of As the Aiyuk Turns goes, but I can tell you this much. As we continue to document this whole saga, I'm out. That's going to be a no for me, dog. I'm out. I'm officially out. And I said that last. I said, he's cooked. That was the last episode of As the Aiyuk Turns. He's cooked. This is me officially saying I'm out. I want no parts of Brandon Aiyuk. He can't come within 100 yards of Bear AI Performance Center. Don't want him anywhere near this organization. He's not welcome here. So he can pack his things and go. Pack your things and go. Because he was in Virginia. He might still be in Virginia. I don't know what for. Take your ass back west. You can go. Because you are certainly not welcome here. Whatever the case may be. TJ Ryder, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. TJ Ryder writes, Commanders need Aiyuk more than Aiyuk needs commies. You are so wrong. And you are thinking probably like Brandon Aiyuk is thinking. I don't know if he thinks the Commanders need him more than they need him. Like, because he's not even at that point, right? I think he would be in for a rude awakening if he got released and the Commanders weren't interested. He would probably react like a little ass kid when he realizes the one team that he was following and that he had been literally whoring himself to is like, yeah, I'm good, bro. Not interested. What would he do then? That would be fascinating if he got rejected by the Commanders. All this time, he's got Commanders footballs. He's got their hats on his head. He is promoting the team. Go to the team website, purchase tickets. He's doing all of this shit to grandize the organization, to lift them up. And they like, yeah, bro, not really interested. I don't know. We'll never find out because he ain't getting released. He ain't getting released. So we won't find out. We won't have to cross that bridge. But we don't need him. I wanted him in Washington, but we most certainly don't need him. That's for sure. Anyway, I digress. You guys enjoy the rest of your evening. And I look forward to chopping it up with you guys next time. Until then, I'm your man, Louie T, signing off. Have a great rest of your evening, and I will see you guys tomorrow. Peace.